Leave your hope at the door. What you're about to see is not a tragedy. It is an inevitability. I am only here to show you how the trap was built. In this particular ecosystem, the most dangerous predator does not wear camouflage. He is found in his natural habitat: a tailored suit, white teeth, and a meticulously rehearsed humility. Meet the self-made billionaire, a species that has mastered the ultimate trick, inheriting the world while convincing everyone else that he built it himself. He projects an aura of hard work and risk-taking. This is a crucial mating ritual used to lure the herd. Ordinary mammals who believe that they too can rise to the top of the food chain if only they run faster in their hamster wheels. He often speaks of how he grew up surrounded by poverty. And in a way, it's true. His environment was full of lack. The maid was poor, the gardener was poor, the chauffeur, the cook, and the masseuse all miserably poor. You can only imagine what a humbling experience it was for the young alpha to have to witness such misery every day in his own backyard, on his way from the swimming pool to the tennis court. This early exposure to the needs of others taught him life's most vital lesson. It is significantly more comfortable to be the one holding the whip than the one dodging it. He propagates the sweet lie of meritocracy. It is a complex vocalization used to convince his prey that the accumulation of resources is a reward for intelligence. But let us look closer at the nest. Bill, Elon, Jeff. Just few random names whose garages were equipped with safety nets worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. When we look deep into the origins of one well-known alpha, we find that instead of a garage, his bicycle chains were greased with the South African emerald mine and the privileges of the apartheid era. Family inheritance is not just hard cash. It is an ecosystem-provided parachute that the lower members of the herd do not possess. The predator can take risks because he knows he will never hit the ground. But the true masterpiece is not how he accumulates hard cash, but how he squeezes the last drop of life force from his subordinates. The predator has replaced biological needs with algorithms. In his kingdom, time is not money. Time is a shackled tool. The prey move through massive concrete caves with clockwork precision. Here, physiology is the enemy. The bladder is an obstacle to productivity. There is a sweet lie of an optimized work environment, but the reality smells like a plastic bottle under a workstation. The predator has calculated that a 10-minute break for relief is 10 minutes away from his next space flight. So he removes the breaks. He monitors every second with a digital eye that never blinks. If you stop to be human, the machine marks you as a defective part. This is the fuel of the machine, the extraction of surplus value. Once the predator has gathered enough resources from the backs of others, he moves to the next phase, the ownership of information. He can buy an entire social media platform, not to engage in dialogue, but to serve his own truths directly into the ears of the herd. He reshapes the algorithm in his own image, ensuring His voice echoes in every corner, silencing those who question the morality of the machine. It is a perfect closed loop. Grind the workers, pocket the profits, and buy the megaphone to tell them their misery is freedom. Hard cash is an unforgiving reality. It does not tolerate being hidden unless you are large enough. Capital is a peculiar digital parasite that grows faster than real-world flesh and blood. When the predator reaches a certain mass, he no longer stains himself with labor. His wealth reaches escape velocity. 1 billion units generate passive income that exceeds the consumption of the entire herd. Since no new land is created, the predator must eat the nests of others. He buys the homes of the middle class, rents them back to them, and calls it investing. At the same time, he finds the loophole. One of the most cunning specimens of the species, a shadow predator who grew rich in the early days of digital payments and now practices data analysis and ideological erosion, managed to transmute his retirement account into a $5 billion tax-free war chest, proving that rules are written only for those who cannot afford to hire an army of lawyers to break them. He pays 0 units in tax, while the ordinary worker bee surrenders half of his honey. He says success trickles down, but in reality it is only evaporating mist. He wants to have his cake, own the bakery, and burn the wheat fields behind him. Yet his arrogance reaches its peak when he asks for help. The predator preaches against regulation, but feasts on billions in public subsidies. A major manufacturer of electric vehicles and clean energy solutions, the crown jewel of today's most famous alpha, was saved from inevitable bankruptcy in 2010 by a $450 million government loan. He uses the roads, the technology and the legal system funded by taxpayers, yet refuses to contribute to their maintenance. He is a social parasite who has socialized his risks and privatized his profits. The predator is not content with merely taking resources. He wants to take the moral high ground as well. He publishes guides that the herd reads like Holy Scripture. He advises you to give up avocado toast so you can save for a house deposit, without, of course, calculating the fact that breadlessness yields a result only after about 300 years. It is easy to preach frugality when $1 million given by a grandfather is already resting in the company's seed fund. He urges you to drop out of school and follow your dreams, just as he did. He fails to mention that beneath his dream was the safety net of an elite university. Most sublime, however, is the advice of 8 hours of sleep and 3 good decisions a day. It is a beautiful thought for a species that has 10,000 worker bees cleaning up the messes and pissing in bottles, so the alpha doesn't have to bother his head with reality. The predator can sleep soundly because he knows the machine never sleeps. These pieces of advice suffer from survivorship bias. We only hear of the few who took insane risks and succeeded, but we never hear of the thousands who followed the same instructions and ended up in debt slavery. But the most disturbing thing in this biotope is what happens when the prey begin to growl back. When the herd demands justice, the predator resorts to an ancient defense mechanism: the far right. History is an exhaustively precise archive of this. Look at Germany in the early 1930s. The industrial magnates and bankers, fearing the erosion of their privileges, did not choose democracy. They chose a feral, disciplined beast that promised to crush the resistance. They believed they could keep the monster on a leash as long as it protected their golden vaults. The same parasite has awakened once more, but unlike in Germany of old, it is now the Christian far right. Today's alphas funnel hard cash to those who incite hatred under the shadow of the cross and the Bible. It is a twisted trade. The predator gets to keep his privileges and the monster gets to tear society apart with theocratic rage. He feeds the hatred with algorithms, the very ones he bought to protect his truth, so that the people fight each other instead of looking up. Better boots on the street and preachers on the pulpits than a single cent less in the bank account. The predator has not disappeared. It has merely upgraded its code. Because while the individual specimen may fall, the machine is eternal. It is the ultimate apex predator, patient, unyielding and always hungry. It doesn't need a penthouse or a t-shirt. It only needs new faces so the game can continue undisturbed. You have been watching the Urban Predator Files. Stay tuned for our next investigation. Subscribe. Because even as we speak, the machine is already identifying its next meal.